What's up, grade and students? Welcome to our video lesson for Science 10, Week 5, Lesson 2, the composition of the Earth's interior and its mineral deposits. So let's have a short recap again of what we have tackled on our past video lesson. So a while ago, as we have tackled about the different layers of the Earth, again, so which includes the crust, the mantle, the outer core, and the inner core. And as you can see, and as we have tackled, is these different layers of the Earth have their own chemical properties, have their own physical properties, and also have their own unique composition coming from the elements and the rocks that are present on it. For our most essential learning competency, is at the end of this lesson is you should be able to describe the properties of the layers of the earth. So are you ready to learn? Okay, let's start. And as we all know, the structure of the earth is divided into different layers, namely the crust, the mantle, on which it can be classified into two, the upper mantle and the lower mantle, the outer core, and the inner core. And these layers are both physically and chemically different. Aside from that, there are different boundaries found between these different layers of the Earth. For example, we have the Mohorovic discontinuity, the Gutenberg, and the Lemon discontinuity. The boundaries between these layers were discovered by means of the use of seismograph, which showed the way vibration bounced off the layers during earthquake. So later on, mas itatakal pa po natin itong concept na to. And also, this is the answer to our question on which 'di ba nabanggit natin na tanong kanina, bakit alam ng mga scientists na merong iba't ibang layers eh hindi naman nila na-explore kung ano yung nasa loob nun? Bakit nila nalaman na solid 'to? Bakit nila nalaman na liquid itong part na 'to or yung layer na 'to? Mamaya ita-tackle pa po natin 'yan when we tackle the what we call seismic waves. Okay? So dahil po sa pagka-discover po ng iba't ibang layers na 'to, ayan, so we have Conrod, in which it is between the upper and the lower crust. We have the Mohorovic discontinuity, in which it is the boundary between the lower crust and the upper mantle, or the crust and the mantle rather. We have the Repeti discontinuity, which is the boundary between the upper and the lower mantle. We have the Gothenburg discontinuity, which is in between the lower mantle and the outer core, and the Lemon discontinuity, the boundary between the outer core and the inner core. And each of this boundary showed different ways on how vibration bounce off na mas itatakal po natin sa susunod nating lesson. So can you determine what are these elements? Okay, let's start for the first one. All you have to do is determine what is the element shown in this picture. If your answer is aluminum, you got it right. Second one, very good. We have calcium. Next one, very good. We have oxygen. Very good. We have magnesium. And let's proceed to the different components of the different layers of the Earth. From for our first one, we have the crust. And we already mentioned this one a while ago. And the crust is made up of different elements, such as silicons, the silicates, we have oxygen, aluminum, calcium, sodium, and potassium. And just like what I mentioned, it is made up of different rocks, which can be less dense or more dense. Kapag less dense, yun yung makikita sa ating mga continental crust, on which it is also, particularly sa ating continental, ang makikita po ay yung tinatawag nating mga granite, and sa ating namang oceanic crust, which is more dense na makikita sa ating mga ocean floor, ay binubuo naman po ng mas dense na rock known as basalt. And this graph shows a summary of the different elements or the most abundant element present on the crust. And the most abundant element present on the crust is oxygen, which is around 47%, silicon, which is about 28%, aluminum, which is 8.2%, iron, which is 5%, 2.9% for sodium, and different more elements that are present in small amounts. Okay, let us proceed to the next layer, which is the mantle. The mantle, which is the thickest, makes up about, take a look at this one, 80% of the Earth's volume and 68% of the Earth's total mass. Ganun po siya kapal at ganun din kabigat. Or yan, kabigat yung mga materials na nandun. So the mantle is mostly made up of the element silicon, oxygen, which is also present on the crust. But here in the mantle, small amounts lang po ng silicon and oxygen. But more on, mas marami po diyang present ng mga materials such as iron and magnesium. That is for the mantle. And also, the mantle has its lower part. Okay? So the lower part of the mantle is consists of more iron. Okay? This explains why the lower mantle is denser than the upper portion. So since na binubuo siya or since na mas mataas yung amount ng tinatawag po nating iron dito sa lower part, it makes it more dense. Kaya nga nahati siya sa dalawang part. Ito po tinatawag nating mantle because the layer with the more iron is considered as the more dense, okay, than the one with less iron. Okay? Kaya yung lower mantle po, yun yung kaya siya tinawag na lower mantle because hindi lang siya isa, okay? Pero meron pwedeng mahati po yung tinatawag nating mantle sa dalawa, which is the upper mantle and the lower mantle. Next one is we have the core. Isahin na lang natin siya. So the temperature of the core, just like what we have mentioned, can reach up to 2,000 degrees Celsius. And at this high temperature po, iron and nickel can melt. Syempre, sobrang taas na ng temperature na yan. Sir, again, balikan natin yung na-mention natin kanina, di ba? The core can be divided into two. You have your inner core and outer core. And this inner core and outer core have different states. Yung isa dyan ay solid, yung isa naman ay liquid. Alin nga kasi ulit yung solid? Is it the outer or the inner core? Very good. It is the inner core that is solid and the one that is liquid is the outer core. But how come that the inner core is solid? Eh, yun yung nasa pinaka-core at yun din yung pinaka-mainit. So the reason behind that is because of the what we call pressure. Okay? So the inner core is made up of solid iron and nickel. And its temperature, take a look at this one, reaches about 5,000 degrees Celsius. And napapanatili na solid yung iron at saka nickel natin because of the high pressure on the inner core. And ang pinakatawag po talaga doon ay tinatawag natin pressure freezing. Not by means na freezing na sobrang lamig, but it looks or it appears like the material is being frozen. It is because of the high pressure. Okay? Kaya po solid po ang ating inner core. And those are some of the characteristics and also components of the different layers of the earth. Any questions? So you can message me po if you have questions about our topic and on our video lessons. So if wala po kayong mga tanong, again, thank you very much, great students, and see you on our next video lesson.